Did you know that petrichor is the smell after it rains? Welcome. My name is Michael, and on this channel I teach you how to make a living as a professional artist. Today we're going to talk about how to win a poetry contest. Now this could actually apply to any contest. This could be a photography contest, this could be a book contest, a short fiction contest, any kind of online or physical contest for art or creatives. So you might ask yourself, why would you want to enter these and why would you want to win? A big thing is a lot of times they have prizes, a lot of times it's prestige or notoriety, or even just, getting your name out there, adding something to your CV. A lot of people kind of talk down about adding stuff to your CV, but really that does add up, especially if you are in academia. So the first thing to consider is, what does it mean to win a contest? Is the contest going to give you a cash prize? Is it just going to publish your work out there? Does it mean that your work is going to get an opportunity that you wouldn't otherwise have? You should already know what winning means to you as a writer or a creative. And so going and getting these wins will allow you to go and help your career out. Or even maybe it's not a career, maybe you just want to do it for fun or whatever. And it could also be that you're just starting out and you don't have any wins, so you don't know what a real win is. So you just go and you get some wins, and then you find the ones that are really meaningful for you. Maybe you find ones that really actually bring money to you, and maybe you realize that money actually isn't that important, and you just like to get your work out there and you want people to read your poems. The first step to success and winning a contest is finding the right contest. For example, on my publishing company, we actually have a poetry contest right now, which has gave me the inspiration for this video. The thing is, we actually have contests all the time, and they differ in terms of what it is that we are offering authors and what it is that authors need to submit for our contest. So, the contest that we have now, you should definitely check that out. But if you go and you want something 6 months down the road, it might be a different contest, but it might provide a different value for you. Hopefully in this video I'll be able to give you some perspective that you don't normally get, because I am on the other side of the contest where I have juried and judged dozens and dozens of contests. And so, a lot of advice comes from artists and comes from authors about how to win, but I'm going to tell you, as someone who owns a publishing company, how to win, what it is that I'm looking for, what it is that I'm instructing my jurors to look for, what it is that I'm instructing my team to look for, and what does a win constitute for us, the publisher. The first thing to consider is, how did you discover the contest? Did the company advertise to you, or did you find it organically by looking on a site like New York Foundation of the Arts, or Submittable, or some other organization? If it was advertised to you via Facebook ads or via email newsletter or some other way, like if the company, the organization is reaching out to you, the author, then it's a pretty good idea that you are the target audience for that particular contest. Meanwhile, if you're going and being proactive, which you should always do as a creative, if you're being proactive about your career and you're saying, I want to apply to this poetry contest, you need to kind of really make sure that your work really fits that particular contest. And we're going to talk about how to do that moving forward. It's always important to consider, what is the organization trying to get out of this open call? Are they trying to get a showcase of local artists within their organization? Are they trying to get new material to publish? Are they trying to get user engagement so that way people are going to their website to buy more books? Do they just, there's always some kind of hook. Organizations have to do something, and there's nothing malicious about it. What is it that they are trying to get out of it? And you can tell that usually a lot of times they'll actually just say it, but a lot of times also you can kind of tell it based off of the way that you have to submit. For example, if the submission is free, then they're obviously just trying to get as many people as possible to come in which case it's really about engagement. But if it's like $40 to submit one poem, it's really not about engagement, and it's much more about like creating a highly curated thing, making sure that everyone who does it is really serious, paying their jurors, trying to see inside the mind of the organization what it is that they're trying to do is really important. Next thing to consider is, how long is the open call open for? If the open call is open for 6 months or over, you're probably not going to win. And I don't mean to say that to discourage you, but companies, organizations open up these windows for a really long period of time, so that way people will go and get thousands and tens of thousands of submissions. Like, if my organization, and we have like a small to medium sized organization, if we put out an open call for 6 months, we would get thousands and thousands and thousands of submissions. And so, you're much less likely to win. Now, it could be that you've looked at your goals as a writer or an artist and decided that winning these bigger prizes is more meaningful than winning smaller ones that won't necessarily help improve your career. That's up to you to decide. That's up for you to know. So it's really important to go and research the open call, research the organization, research the contest. A lot of times in the past, they've published poems or published work that have won in previous years. See if there is some defining characteristic. A lot of times they switch jurors around. With my company, we switch jurors around and really try and keep fresh eyes and fresh perspectives, so that way it's not being curated by one person and really getting that diverse opinion. But a lot of times, I will instruct people what to look for, and it's their decision to decide. For example, with my organization, we want to try and create a balance between getting the most number of people submitting and providing like the fairest plane for people to participate on and enter on. But at the same point in time, we don't want people just going and submitting, 100 entries that all suck and clogging up our servers, which is definitely a thing that can happen. So for our current open call, we charge $5 to submit, and that's just really, it provides enough friction for people who really aren't serious. They're not gonna go and participate. That way it's a really win-win situation for everyone involved. We get higher quality submissions because the people who submit, if you're willing to pay $5 to get your work in a book, you know that your work is good and you believe in it, and you just need to share that with us. And then our jurors don't have to sift through tons of mediocre work. And at the same point in time, if you're really serious about it and you're willing to invest in your career, then it's going to give you the highest payout of getting your work in a book. I think something that I've been thinking about a lot as someone who is kind of like a gatekeeper or whatever is what it means to deserve an art opportunity. And if you have two people both considered equal, should you give that opportunity to someone who is actually trying to make an art career versus someone who's just kind of doing it on the side or whatever? I haven't really decided, but it's definitely something that I'm thinking about a lot, moving forward, because I think that the people that really want to go and do something with their career, it's going to mean more to them. It's going to help build them up in a way that's really meaningful for the rest of their life. And then also they're going to give more back to the company. It's like the professionals that are really beneficial for us as an organization, because it's the professionals that go and share the fact that they were in a book on their Twitter account and on their Instagram account and really rep us out and, make it more than just a one-sided arrangement. They're the people that follow up and, share the book with their audience and actually have an audience to share the book with. The next step is to research the jurors. So, go and look at what the jurors, see what kind of work they make. I'm not saying that you have to make work that is like theirs at all. Like, I make very particular work. I'm an artist myself. I'm a writer myself. And that really weighs very little on the kind of work that I go and put out. I will say that researching the jurors can help you curate which particular poem or which particular work of art you go and you put out there. The next thing is to really make sure that the poem that you pick is super topical to the actual open call. I can't tell you how many submissions we get of really amazing poems, really amazing work of art that just don't make sense for a work of call, and we're like, why did you submit to this? Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna pick it. It doesn't belong here. You should submit it to someone else. You should have saved. And that's one of the reasons we charge $5 is because we were getting a lot of those. We were getting a lot of people who would just submit to everyone that was free. And yeah, you win that way, but it's kind of like swiping right to every single person on Tinder. It's like, yeah, you'll eventually match with someone, but it's really about building a much more meaningful relationship than just kind of, getting with someone. The next thing is, if you have any questions, be sure that you email the director of the open call. Any quality open call should go and have an email that you can ask if you have any questions, because if you're going to go and you're going to pay money or you're going to take time to really fill this out, it's important that you make sure that you do it right. Quite honestly, I'm not the juror a lot of times, but when someone emails me a question, like, I remember them. I remember their submission. Now, not to say that, like, when we review poems at ours, we don't look at the names at all. We don't look at the countries at all. We don't look at anything except the poems. We just keep the other stuff on record, so that way we can actually contact you if you are accepted. But at the same point in time, like, if I know that someone was really, like, going and really serious about this and emailing me questions, and then I do accept them, then I'm going to go and, be sure to be super responsive to them later on. And even if I don't accept them, like, maybe I'll recognize their name the next time, and eventually you kind of build up that rapport. Or, maybe they don't get accepted to the poetry contest, but they want to publish a book with us, and they keep on submitting to the poetry contest, keep on asking questions, and I just see their name in my email box all the time. It really does add up. So if you are serious about an organization, that is something to consider. Although it tends to work more with smaller organizations. Like, if you're submitting to a much larger one, like Penguin Random House or whatever, the odds of you getting the same person that you email every time is kind of different, but it's just worth considering. One really important thing to consider is, don't use strange formatting in your poems. Call it concrete poetry, call it, whatever you want to call it about how you arrange the words on the page. And this could be for any medium or whatever. But the thing is, I love that kind of work, and it's okay to have some of that. But if you use, like, really, really strange formatting that we can't easily reproduce, I would say that we're less inclined to pick it. And the thing is, like, there's nothing wrong against your poem. It's just that as an organization, like, if we pick you, we're proud of you. We are proud of your work, and we want to be able to share that work. And the thing is, if you use, like, really strange formatting, like, letters on the side, or, like, words, like, characters that we don't have, or something like that, like, stuff that doesn't translate well, or, like, needs a specific typeface in order to function, it's not going to work well, because we can't share that poem very easily with our platform. Like, if you need a specific typeface, we can't share that on Instagram, because Instagram is going to use their own typeface. Or, like, like our, when we're submitting the file to the printer, it's going to have trouble with characters that are, like, weird off to the side or whatever, or translating it to an ebook. We are not able to easily share that work. And while there definitely is a place for that work, and that work should exist, maybe I should make an open call, particularly about weird poems or weird formatting for things. But I would say for the average one, stick to just normal formatting. Don't get super experimental with that. Really play with the content of what you're doing, and not necessarily the format. My next major tip is to submit early if possible. So I don't know how other organizations run it, but I do know that we actually usually review everything in the order that we receive them. And so we strip the names of it, we strip the contact of it, so we don't know any of that. We just do it because that way it makes sense. If you have a list of a couple hundred or a couple thousand people, it makes a lot more sense to go and kind of just go through the list down by down. And maybe we'll split the list into chunks. Maybe we'll give 300 to this juror, 300 to that juror, or whatever. But I think that being early on really gives people a competitive advantage, because you're setting the benchmark that we compare everyone else to. And so I kind of see it as like King on the Hill kind of thing, where, like, every juror, especially every juror that I've ever talked to, including myself, you pick the ones that are really your favorite, and then when more come along, you compare them to the ones that you've already seen. And if they're not better or they're equal to the other one, then you just kind of, throw them away. But they really have to be better than the previous ones to kind of earn a spot. So the early ones really start to, stand out. And I've noticed, like, a little bit of a trend. Maybe it's incidental, maybe it's just with my organizations, but the people that submit early on, they tend to be the most serious, they tend to fill everything out the best, and they tend to get their work accepted a lot more often than people that are submitting at 11:59 the day of the final deadline. The next thing is to submit as many times as possible. Now, I know that this can get expensive, especially if you add things up, but I think, if you really narrow down, if you've gone through all the time to really narrow down, like, this particular content is appropriate for your work and your goals, then I think it's worth investing in that. Like, if you go and you're with us and you decide that you have 5 poems that really all work with us, and we accept 5 poems, you should submit it. Whereas maybe if it's not like that important to you, or you don't think you'll get it, or you don't have as many poems that are topical, you only submit 1 poem, you only submit 1 work of art. But if you've really gone and done your research and found the right thing, I think it's important to triple down on it. I think it's way better to submit 5 poems to one contest that really, really fits your needs and your goals and your demographic than to submit 1 poem to 5 organizations that don't really go and do it. And that goes back to the analogy that I was talking about before, where it's just kind of like the spray and pray, the swiping right to everyone on Tinder. It really doesn't get you that far. People say it does, but it doesn't provide anything meaningful. And you'll get a lot of things on your CV or your resume, but you really won't, it won't take you to that next level. Really, what takes you to that next level in your career is always relationships. Because the only thing that you can kind of build that you can build that next level on is other people, because it's other people seeing you, and it's you interacting with other people and the relationship you have with those other people. So like, building real relationships is so much more valuable to building up a CV or building up a list of publications than just sheer number. And the next thing is, after you've submitted, after you've waited a while, be sure to follow up over email. Make sure that people are really paying attention to you. Don't be worried about being a little annoying. Organizations, if you're running a contest, you go to expect that. And for me, with my organization, honestly, the biggest problem we have is the lack of communication with authors at certain times, and I would 10 times over an author email me too often, or email my team way too often than not enough. Because with the amount of time that it takes for me to respond to your email, that's just kind of like making sure that I'm doing my job, whatever, I'm definitely going to do my job. But like, it's inconsequential to the time lost if you don't email me back. So really follow up, and if you are accepted, like, email right away. Don't even say anything, just acknowledge it. Just say like, thank you, what are the next steps, if they don't say anything. Like, you don't have to have anything prepared. Don't take that time to wait. Just send it that day and really like get the ball rolling. And the organization will really take things from there if you're accepted. Like, they'll help you and they'll guide you and they'll make sure everything gets done, but you just need to like be available and really follow up. And that's true if you don't get accepted too, because if you don't get accepted, following up just keeps that rapport with the people, especially with smaller to medium-sized organizations where you can actually get in contact with the people that run it. And the final thing is, don't be upset if you are not accepted. I know personally, as a creator and a writer, I go and I put my work out there all the time, and the majority of times I actually don't get accepted. And I actually, like, recently, like 2 weeks ago, had one that really stung. I was like, I'm a total shoo-in for this. My friends got it. Like, my work is better than theirs, and I'm gonna like make it. And for whatever reason, like, I didn't get accepted, and I took it really personally, which is not normal for me. But I take it personally whenever like my peers get accepted to something and I don't. But I think it's important to not take it personally. It could just be that it's not the right fit. It could just be that they have too many people, or they've done. You want to if you're an organization and you have a good relationship with an author, they're probably going to have priority over someone new because they're trying to build relationships on their end. So don't take it personally. It could be any number of reasons. The important thing is to really just keep your head up and keep trying, and spend more time focusing on the right opportunity rather than time wasted on worrying about other people's opinion, because that's really like don't treat it as a value judgment against your work, because it's not. It's just you're not the right fit, or this poem is not the right fit for this book at this time. So I'm going to go and link to the open calls that we have in the description down below. If they change, I'm sure that we have open calls happening all the time. It's really the way that we get work. And so I would go and advise you to check those out. I know that they're good, but they might not be the right fit for you if not. Some other resources, I have other videos talking about resources on where to find open calls, where to submit your work, how to really go and get your work published, get your work out there, get into gallery exhibitions. I actually have guides to all of that in previous YouTube videos, and I also have guides to that on the website. Especially I have like courses set up where you go and you sign up, and there's just like free blog posts. None of it costs any money, anything like that. Just so that you can get all of the information that you need. Let me know in the comments what it was like if you've ever gotten your work published, or if you're trying to, what struggles that you're happening, and I'll respond to you. Like, you have a problem, like, you write to me and we'll work it out and we'll figure it out. I think that my job is really to empower all creatives. So I make these videos to go and reach a larger audience, but I also think that it's really important to go one-on-one, hand-on-hand combat with individual artists and authors and say, all right, where's your pain point? Where's your sticking point? Where can we help you improve? Like, what's the best thing for you at this time? That's it for today. It's getting dark out, as you can tell. I want to take you outside because it's beautiful out. Have a wonderful day. If you like the video, hit thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. We have videos coming out all the time. Sign up for our newsletter because we haven't started sending it yet, but it's going to be excellent. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.